One of the things about jiu-jitsu, this is a very important lesson for anybody who knows jiu-jitsu, because a lot of people don't like this aspect of jiu-jitsu. Some people have this meathead idea that the way to get good at jiu-jitsu is to go against the hardest guys, get your ass kicked, and that's how you learn. Actually, that's the wrong way to learn. The best way to get good at jiu-jitsu is to strangle blue belts. You go and you find people that are just learning, but they're not as good as you, and you choke the fuck out of them. That's how you get really good at your technique. And people say, well, that's bullying. Well, it is important for the blue belt to, at some point, spar with black belts. It is important because or purple belts or brown belts, because you need to know that there's a higher level of proficiency, there's a higher level of skill, and then there's a shorter distance in between points that these guys are hitting. They're cutting the chase. They're
Right. And I want to say one thing about higher belts not bullying the blue belts, because you can work with a blue belt and work on your technique and not completely murder them and like do the most damaging techniques possible. Good training technique, I would say, includes, not trying to break your opponent's appendages or limbs. If you have a submission, slowly put it on. Give the new guy who might not know when to tap, give him some time to tap out. So you're not just breaking his joints. Secondly, I would say if you're an upper belt rolling with a blue belt, work on something. Don't just attack for the sake of attacking. Work on your game. If you're a black belt, you clearly understand submissions. You clearly have probably done a rear naked choke multiple times. If you can work on something, let the blue belt work. Let him get the mount. Work on your mount escapes. Put yourself in a disadvantageous position because you're probably going to be safe. You're going to be able to get out of the situation. And have something in mind that you're going to work on. Don't just be like, I'm going to tap this blue belt 6 times in this 6-minute round. That's not helping your game. Anyways.
Capitalizing on very small openings, and they clamp down. And when they capitalize on these small openings, they get submissions quicker. So you have to know that there are guys that are better. That's important. But to drill, the most important thing is drilling. And when you drill with like someone of your level, and you just practice on each other. Like, you choke me, and you'll do it like twice, and I'll choke you, I'll do it twice, and it's just practice. And maybe you'll resist like 50%. Like sometimes, like when you're doing a drill and I'll pretend to be resisting, I'll resist like a little bit so that you strangle me and choke, because that simulates real life, simulates how it'd be, and you're supposed to be building your muscle memory. But the real way to do it, after you do that, to get it really sharp, is to practice on people with a limited amount of proficiency, just to choke the shit out of them. So that's like the way that you ultimately get better, is to practice on people that aren't quite as good as you.
Right, and what he's talking about here is when you first learn a new move, doing it with a minimal to no resistance. So just making sure you know what to do in that position. For example, if you're learning how to take the back from the guard position, you want to get it into your muscle memory that you move the arm across your body, you grab their lat, you scissor your legs, and then you pendulum up to take the back. And you want to do that a couple times. A lot of times with no resistance, so it gets in your muscle memory. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys, they think, oh, I've seen an arm bar once, I've done an arm bar one time, I know how to do the arm bar. But you don't really have it in your muscle memory. It's not second nature for you. So I think being good at a sport is having it in your muscle memory and doing it with minimal resistance. And then what Joe Rogan was saying is then you practice it on blue belts, because they have minimal resistance to your technique. And so you're still practicing this move with minimal resistance. And so just drilling that over and over again. I like to compare jiu-jitsu a lot to basketball. If you just go to the gym and play pickup basketball every weekend, you play like 4 games, even if you're the best player on the team, you're playing games of 21, you play 4 games. Let's say you score half the team's points. You've put the ball in the basket 10 times per game for 4 games. You've put the ball in the basket 40 times. And what you should be doing is not playing live games, but just shooting the ball. A lot of professional NBA players will just shoot the ball and work on moves with no one in front of them and do about 200 shots a day to practice. Now, 40 shots made versus 200 shots made, what is that? That's like 5 times the amount of practice that person's getting because they're practicing under minimal resistance. And so I compare it to jiu-jitsu a lot because you want to just drill things until they're in your muscle memory. You don't want to just go to the open gym and spar with a guy for 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 18 minutes a weekend, and then I'm good. I'm going home. No. Learn something new. Drill it.
And then you eventually develop and you get to a point where, that seems kind of impractical, But I don't remember what my point was. Choking people, sports.
Going against different belts, kid teaching, bullying.
Getting better. So the idea by that is, the real problem with that is, if you're in a school and say you're the only white belt and everybody else is a brown belt or a black belt and you're training with them, fuck, man, you might not ever get good. Like, you just might get wrecked all the time. And that's the idea with kids that are in sports that are so much younger than everyone else in their class. Or if you're pretentious and they bring you precocious and they bring you into class early, he skipped a grade. So you're in 7th grade now, Billy. Well, you got to go to 7th grade football. Good luck, you little fuck. Yeah. You're going to get run over.
One of my best friends growing up, the whole time we were playing sports, his birthday is a week after mine, but he's a whole year older than me. And so he played sports with us the whole time. He's smaller than me and doesn't look like he's bigger than all of us, but he would beat the shit out of every single person we would play. Every sport, football, basketball, baseball, track. When we got to high school, for some reason he was better than everyone in that too. He was a 9th grader and he was starting freshman running back on the varsity team in the newspaper, but he was a whole year older than everyone. And
well, that's what it is.
15 years ago, no one was really.
Yeah, well, that's a big deal because your body develops like very rapidly at a young age, and so these young kids that are older than everyone else in their class, they have this significant advantage, and that advantage, according to Gladwell, it accelerates them onto success as a professional. That because you have an advantage, you continue to get better, and you can exercise that advantage over other people, which sharpens your skills. Just like, the idea of getting really good because you're strangling blue belts. It's not good for the blue belt, but it's good for you, because you're already ahead of them. So you're going to get better and better and better and better.